You know, the thing about being chosen, it's not all sunshine and miracles. No, no, no. It's a funny thing, really. One day, you're just another face in the crowd, walking the same streets, breathing the same air as everyone else. Then suddenly, boom, the universe picks you. And oh, how the world starts looking at you differently. You ever notice how people love the idea of being special? Oh, they dream about it. They tell themselves, I'm different. I'm meant for something greater. But the second that weight drops on their shoulders, the second life whispers, all right, it's your turn now. Suddenly, it's not so fun anymore. See, being chosen, it's not some grand prize, no balloons, no confetti, no dramatic music playing in the background. No, no, no. It's a responsibility, a heavy, ugly, back-knacking thing that people beg for until they actually get it. Because once you're chosen, once that mark is on you, you don't get to blend in anymore. You don't get to hide in the crowd like some nobody. No. People start looking at you differently. Some with admiration, sure. Others with suspicion. And some want to watch you fall. Funny thing about people, when you're just another face in the crowd, they don't care what you do. You're harmless, forgettable, but the moment you step out of line, the moment you're picked, suddenly you become a problem, a threat. And threats, well, they don't get ignored. They get dealt with. You feel it, don't you? That weight pressing down on you. It's not light, it's not easy, it's not comfortable. And yet, there's no turning back. You can't just pretend you didn't hear the call. You can't just wake up one morning and say, nah, I think I'll pass on this whole being chosen thing. Oh, how they'd love to do that. But it doesn't work like that, does it? Because when you're chosen, you're marked. And when you're marked, things start changing. The world doesn't look the same. You don't look the same. The way people talk to you shifts. The way they see you shifts. Some smile a little wider. Others, well, they sharpen their teeth behind those smiles. And you start to notice things. Things you never paid attention to before, like how some people only want to be around you when it benefits them, like how the ones who used to walk with you suddenly don't. It's funny, isn't it, how the same people who cheered for you yesterday start whispering about you today, how their voices get a little lower when you enter the room. How their laughter fades the moment you walk past. And maybe, just maybe, you start wondering if it would have been easier to stay ordinary, to stay small, to stay unnoticed. But that's the trick, isn't it? They think being chosen is about power, about prestige, about some grand cosmic reward. But no, no, no. It's about the weight, the burden, the cost. And that's something most people aren't ready for. They like the idea of being special, but they don't like the part where they have to stand alone. They don't like the part where the world starts throwing stones just to see if they'll break. And oh, the world will throw them again and again and again. Just to see if that chosen one, that person marked for something bigger, if they'll crack under the pressure, if they'll fold, if they'll break. And let's be honest, some do. Some drop the weight. Some try to run from it. Some pretend it was never there to begin with, and for a while maybe they convince themselves that they're free, that they dodged a bullet, that life can go back to how it was before. But deep down, deep down, they know better, because once you've been chosen, once you've felt that weight, There's no going back. And oh, wouldn't that be the funniest joke of all? You ever notice how some dates mean nothing to most people, but to a few, to a few, they mean everything. Just another day on the calendar, right? March 10, 2025. Nothing special, just a Tuesday or a Monday or whatever day it lands on. People wake up, drink their coffee, scroll through their little screens, go to work, come home, go to sleep. Another routine, another day. Nothing changes, except for some it does. Oh, for some that day isn't just a day. It's the day everything splits in two, before and after. It's the day a line gets drawn and not everyone gets to step over it. You see, most people like their little routines. They like their comfort, their predictability. They like knowing that tomorrow's going to look exactly like today. But change, real change? Oh no, that terrifies them. And that's what this is, a shift, a break, a crack in the foundation of everything they thought was solid. And cracks are dangerous, because when something starts to crack, it spreads. You ever see a tiny little fracture on glass? It starts small, almost invisible, but give it time, give it pressure, and suddenly, snap, the whole thing shatters. That's what's coming. Most won't even notice it. They'll go about their lives, heads down, minds numb, oblivious to the fact that something just changed forever. But the ones who do, the ones with eyes to see, with ears to hear, they'll feel it like a shock down their spine. Oh, they'll know, because the ones who are chosen, they don't get to stay blind. No. They see things as they are, not as the world pretends them to be. And the world does love its little illusions. It loves to dress up chains and call them freedom. It loves to wrap up lies in pretty little bows and sell them as truth. And people eat it up, swallow it whole, because it's easier, isn't it? Easier to live in a dream than to wake up and see the nightmare staring back. But March 10, 2025, that's a wake-up call. Thank you, that's the day the mask starts slipping, the curtain starts tearing, and not everyone's going to like what's on the other side. Some will fight it, some will deny it, some will laugh and scoff and pretend like nothing's changed. But deep down, deep down, they'll feel it too. Because when a moment like this comes, it doesn't ask if you're ready, it doesn't wait for permission, it just arrives. And when it does, you're either standing on one side or the other. No middle ground, no safe spaces, no hiding behind excuses or waiting for things to blow over. You're either in or you're out. And that terrifies them more than anything. Because people like to think they have time. They like to believe they can choose when they're ready. But no. Some choices, they get made for you. And when they do, you better hope you are on the right side when the dust settles. Because after that, after March 10, 2025, there's no pretending anymore. No going back, no undoing what's been set in motion, and whether they like it or not, whether they accept it or not, the world is going to change. And those who are meant to rise, well, let's just say the time for sitting still is over. You ever watch a fire burn? I mean, really watch it? Most people don't. They see the flames dance, they feel the warmth, and that's it. But fire? Fire has a way of telling the truth. You throw wood in, it burns. You throw paper in, it burns faster. You throw metal in, and that's where things get interesting. Doc, is not everything crumbles in the fire. Some things become... People, they love to talk about being chosen, about purpose, about destiny. But what they don't talk about is the cost. See, everybody wants to be special until the fire comes, until the heat rises and the walls start closing in. And then suddenly they're not so sure. Because fire doesn't just warm you up, it tests you. It sees what you're really made of. And most don't make it. It starts slow, a little discomfort, a little pressure. Maybe people start looking at you funny. Maybe the whispers get a little louder, and at first you think, I can handle this. No big deal, right? Oh, but the fire doesn't stop there. No. It pushes, it presses, it burns, and that's when people start showing their true colors. Some, they run. They drop everything and sprint for the nearest exit, screaming about how they never really wanted this in the first place. Others, they try to fight it, they thrash, they struggle, they curse the flames, but in the end, same result, ashes. But then, there are the ones who stay, the ones who don't run, don't break, don't beg for a way out. And those are the ones the fire wants, because they don't just survive the heat, they change in it. They become more. The weak pieces burn away, the useless parts melt off. And what's left? Something stronger, something real. See, people like to believe they know who they are. They walk around with their little labels, their little identities, thinking they've got it all figured out. But the fire doesn't care about any of that. It doesn't care what you say you are, it cares what you are. And the only way to know, the only way to prove it, is to step in and see what's left when the flames die down. Most won't do it. Most will take one look at the heat and turn the other way, because deep down they know. They know they're not ready. They know they're not as strong as they pretend to be, and that's what really scares them. Not the fire itself, no. What scares them is what it'll reveal. What if they're not who they thought they were? What if they're not as brave, as faithful, as chosen as they believed? They'd rather not find out. Better to stay comfortable, better to stay in the crowd, better to pretend. But those who are meant for more, they don't get that choice. They don't get to hide, because when the fire comes knocking, and trust me, it will come knocking, they'll have to decide, step in and let it change them, or run and spend the rest of their lives wondering what they could have been. And between you and me, there's nothing worse than wondering, don't you run. They never really escape. They tell themselves they did. They build their little safe lives, keep their heads down, act like they never saw the fire in the first place. But in the quiet moments when no one's around, that's when the doubt creeps in. That's when the questions start whispering. What if I had stayed? What if I had faced it? What if I had let it make me into what I was meant to be? And that eats them alive. But the ones who stay, the ones who face it, they don't have to wonder. Because they know what they are. They know what they were meant for. And when the fire dies down and the smoke clears, they don't come out weaker. They don't come out broken. They come out ready. You ever get that feeling? That creeping, slithering little sensation crawling up your spine, making the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, like someone's watching you? It's not your imagination. No. They're always watching. See, most people walk around thinking nobody cares what they do. They think they can slip through life unnoticed, just another face in the crowd, just another voice lost in the noise. But the moment someone steps out of line, the moment someone becomes different, oh, suddenly all eyes are on them. Funny how that works, isn't it? That's what happens when you're chosen. You don't get to move in the shadows anymore. No more blending in, no more flying under the radar. The second you step into the light, the second you stand for something real, the world starts paying attention, and not in the way you'd hope. Oh no, because people, they don't like it when someone refuses to play along. They don't like it when someone isn't afraid, when someone doesn't bend. It makes them uncomfortable. And discomfort? Oh, they hate that. So what do? They watch, they whisper, they wait. Some do it with admiration, sure. Oh, they love a good story, love to see someone rise, as long as it entertains them. But others watch with something else in their eyes, something colder, sharper. They wait for you to slip, to crack, to fail. Because if you fall, well, that proves something to them, doesn't it? Proves that you weren't as strong as you claimed to be. Proves that stepping out, standing up, choosing a different path, it was a mistake. And oh, nothing makes them feel safer than watching someone else crash and burn. Because deep down they want you to fail. Oh, they'll smile, they'll nod, they'll pretend they support you, but in their hearts, in those dark little corners of their minds, they're hoping, waiting, because if you fail, they don't have to feel bad about never trying. If you break, they can tell themselves they were right to stay where it was safe. If you fall, they don't have to feel weak for never standing up. And let's not forget the ones behind the curtains. Oh, they watch too. The ones with power, the ones who pull the strings, the ones who know exactly how dangerous someone truly awake can be. They don't just watch. You know what they do? They test. They poke, they prod, they push. A little pressure here, a little resistance there, just to see what you'll do. Will you stand firm? Will you keep going? Or will you stumble, hesitate, doubt? Because doubt? Oh, doubt is the beginning of the end. Once they get that seed planted in your head, once they make you question yourself, well, the rest is easy. They don't need to stop you. They just need to make you stop yourself. And the funniest part, the moment they realize you won't stop, the moment they see that no matter what they do, you keep going, that's when they panic. That's when the smiles turn stiff. The whispers get louder. The moves get bolder. Because now they see the truth. You're not just some spark waiting to fizzle out. You're a fire. And fire spreads. But here's the trick. If you know they're watching, if you expect the whispers, the waiting, the quiet little daggers they throw from the dark, it doesn't work the way they want it to. Because they only have power over you if you care what they think. If you let them inside your head, if you let them convince you that standing alone is the same as being alone. But it's not. Because for every eye watching with doubt, with envy, with malice, there are others. Others watching with hope. Others waiting, wondering if maybe, just maybe, they could do it too. If maybe they don't have to be afraid. If maybe they don't have to bow. If maybe, just maybe, they were never really alone either. You ever notice how people love to talk about standing for something? Oh, they love that idea. They wear it like a badge, tossed it around like it means something. I stand for this, I stand for that. Makes them feel good, makes them feel important. But what they don't talk about, what they never seem to mention, is the price. 'Cause standing, really standing, oh, that comes with a bill. And sooner or later, somebody has to pay. See, when you decide to stand, you're making a choice. A dangerous one, a costly one. Because standing isn't just about puffing out your chest and making bold little speeches. No, no, no. Standing means losing things you thought you'd always have. Losing people you thought would always be there. Losing the illusion that life was ever going to be easy. And oh, people don't like that part. They think they can have both. They think they can stand tall and stay comfortable. They think they can be different and still be accepted. They think they can rise up without making enemies. But that's not how the game works. The second you stand, really stand, you become a target. People start looking at you funny. Some laugh, some whisper, some shake their heads like you're some kind of fool. And then there are the others, the ones who don't just watch, the ones who act, the ones who suddenly decide you need to be handled. Oh, it starts small, a few closed doors, a few cold shoulders. Maybe you lose an opportunity here, a friend there. No big deal, right? Just bad luck, just a coincidence. But then the pressure starts building. The smiles fade. The voices get sharper. The choices get harder. And suddenly you realize that standing isn't just about what you believe. It's about who's willing to bleed for it. Because the second you stop bending, the second you refuse to play along, the world notices. And the world, oh, it hates that. It hates people who won't kneel. It hates people who won't shut up, won't sit down, won't break. And when the world hates something, it doesn't just frown and walk away. No, no, no. It fights, it pushes, it pulls. It tries to shake you, crack you, grind you down until you're nothing but dust. Because if it can't make you kneel, it will do everything in its power to make you wish you had. And most don't make it. They hold out for a while, sure. They push through the first few storms, pat themselves on the back, tell themselves they're strong. But then the price starts to feel a little too high. The heat gets a little too much. And before they even realize what they're doing, they're backing down. Just a little, just enough to make the pressure stop. And once you start backing down, oh, it gets easier. You tell yourself it's just this one time, just one little compromise, just one little step back. But then there's another, and before you know it, you're exactly where you swore you'd never be, on your knees. But the ones who don't back down, the ones who refuse to, oh, they find out the truth. The truth that nobody tells you, the truth that nobody wants to say out loud, that once you really stand, you don't get to go back. You don't get to undo it. You don't get to unsee, unhear, unbecome what you were meant to be. And yeah, it costs. Oh, it costs. It takes things from you, things you thought you needed. But what it leaves you with, that's something most people will never get to have. Because when you stand, really stand, you don't just find out what you're fighting against. You find out what you're fighting for. And that's something worth losing for. You ever notice how people love to talk about winning? Oh, they love that word. Winning, success. victory. It's got a nice little ring to it, doesn't it? Makes people feel all warm inside, like they've got some kind of control over how this whole thing plays out. But what they don't like to talk about, what they never want to admit, is that not everyone gets to win. No. That's not how the game works. See, the second you step into the arena, the second you decide you're going to fight for something, you have to accept one little inconvenient fact. There's someone out there who wants you to lose. Someone who doesn't just hope you fail, but will do everything in their power to make sure you do. And the funniest part, it's not always who you think. Oh sure, there are the obvious ones, the ones who laugh, who mock, who throw stones from the sidelines, waiting for you to fall flat on your face. But those, they're just noise. The real threats, oh, they come from closer. The ones who smile while they plant doubt in your head, the ones who pat you on the back while slipping the knife in, the ones who pretend they care, pretend they support you, pretend they understand, until the moment you actually start getting somewhere. And then, oh, that's when the mask starts slipping. That's when the encouragement turns into concern, when the smiles turn into warnings, when the friendly advice starts sounding an awful lot like, maybe you should stop before you get hurt. Because that's the trick, isn't it? The ones who lose, they don't always lose because they weren't strong enough, weren't smart enough, weren't fast enough. No. They lose because they listened. They listened to the wrong voices. They let the wrong people into their heads. They let the wrong doubts creep in, let the wrong fears settle in their bones. And before they even realize what's happening, before they even see it coming, they're slowing down, they're hesitating, they're questioning. And hesitation is death. Because once you start wondering if you can make it, once you start doubting if you were ever meant to, that's when the walls start closing in. That's when the pressure starts squeezing. That's when you start looking for a way out. And the second you start looking for an exit, the game is already over. Because winners don't look for exits. They don't think about losing. Don't let the whispers in. Don't let the weight crush them. Don't let the fear dictate their next move, but most aren't ready for that. Most want to win, sure, but they don't want to pay for it. They don't want the bruises, the scars, the sleepless nights, the doors slammed in their faces, the laughter in their ears. They want the glory, but they don't want the grit. They want the reward, but they don't want the risk. And that's why most don't make it. Because the difference between winning and losing, it's not luck, it's not talent, it's not even strength. It's refusal. The refusal to break, refusal to slow down, refusal to accept anything less than what was meant for you. It's not about being the best. It's about being the last one standing. That's where things get really interesting. Because the ones who are never meant to win, they always find a way to convince themselves it wasn't their fault. The timing wasn't right. The system was against me. I tried my best, but it just wasn't meant to be. But the ones who do win, they know the truth. They know that winning isn't some magical accident. It's not some stroke of luck. It's a choice. And the ones who make that choice, they don't need luck. They don't need permission. They don't need anybody to believe in them. They just keep going.